Hello, folks. Today, as part of Safety Week, we're going to address hand protection. We've had a lot of injuries with hands over the past couple of years, most of them minor in nature, but stitches and things like that. We've also had a real serious accident a couple of years ago where tip of a finger was cut off, and in another incident, we actually had someone with their hand got caught into a groover, which was a real tragedy. So we thought it was very important to emphasize during Safety Week hand protection. Now, there's two things to think about when it comes to hand protection. Number one is, where are your hands going to be? In a pinch point situation, obviously working with a grooving machine. In the case of the grooving machine incident, the person had gloves on, but their hand got pulled in based on how they were doing the task. So the whole thought of taking care of your hands is, number one, where are your hands going to be with whatever you're taking on? And then two, making sure you have the proper hand protection gloves to do the task at hand. I'd like to mention something to you which is a story I've shared with many people here at the company and actually outside the company. And it's the story about my grandfather, one of the heroes in my life. My grandfather, first day of a job working at an aircraft factory, was being taught how to use a metal shear. The trainer was not aware that my grandfather's hands were right there at the shear cut point. And the button was pushed, and my grandfather that day lost all of his fingers, and he was left with his two thumbs. You know, my grandfather went on to do some remarkable things in his life, and I didn't learn about this until much later in life, that he actually tried taking his own life several times. He couldn't deal with the handicap. It was just too intense. My grandmother managed to keep him focused on like, hang in there, you're going to get past this. But the incident caused tremendous tragedy, not only to his life, but to the lives of my grandmother, my mother, and her 7 siblings. It was never the same. So I never thought I'd be this passionate about safety. Perhaps my grandfather helped me understand through his tragedy that this is just so important to be thinking about this. And this particular day, hands. So watch where you place your hands, how you're using your hands, make sure you're protecting your hands. Now let's just talk about gloves for a second. So behind me is a glove board, and we have different types of gloves for different types of applications. We have a leather work glove, we have a welding glove, we have cut resistant glove, we have a voltage protection glove. And by the way, we have many, many, many other gloves for different applications. Now, I just want to show you this one glove. This is a cut resistant glove. And actually, it's very tight to the fingers. I actually do a lot of work at home. I love the opportunity to work with my hands, and I do it every chance I get. I haven't been to an emergency room in quite some time, with the exception of a fish hook a couple years ago. But I've not had stitches due to any cuts. And believe me, I work with my hands every chance I get. I love working with wood. I love working outside. I love landscaping. There's all sorts of things I love to do. I don't work on project sites, but I do use my hands often. With that said, I always use gloves now all the time since I've learned about IIF and making sure I'm taking care of myself. So these gloves, you can absolutely pick up screws. I know it's a challenge, but once you get the hang of it, and if these gloves aren't proper or you don't like the gloves you have, there's so many gloves out there. We should do some further investigation to make sure we get the right glove for you. So please make sure you use your gloves. And I should point out, Limbach has a glove policy, 100% use of gloves at all times when you're working with your hands on a job site or in a service situation, servicing equipment. So 100% glove policy. So I'd like to close actually with, I just focused a lot on the job site, but what about on the home front and what's going on the home front? Whether you landscape or do things around your house, please think about using gloves. Take a pair home. Go to Home Depot, pick up, or Lowe's, equal advertising, just pick up some gloves and make sure you have the right PPE on. The other thing though, I hope you've received by now the home welding mitt. Now, it's not a welding mitt. It's basically a kitchen glove, or you could use it for your barbecue. I happen to be standing here in Warrenton, Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful sunny day. This is where we have our barbecues, and this happens to be our company barbecue, which really needs to be cleaned. But the mitt is meant to send a message home that it's not only here at at Limbach in your daily activities with your careers, it's also about on the home front. We care about you, your loved ones at home. We just want to make sure everybody stays safe, including not burning your hand in the kitchen or out at the barbecue. So that's today. It's about hand protection. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please take care of your hands.